And we are here, the final regular season week here of the 2025-2026 NFL season, week 18. As we approach the playoffs, this time next week, we'll be back for our wild card predictions, but there are a handful of games that really matter this week between playoff positioning, playoff berths, and draft positioning. We have every single game predicted this week for week 18 of the NFL season. Obviously, again, next week, the wild card round, and a lot of the playoff berths or playoff bids have already been sealed, but again, there are three massive games this week. Actually, kind of four. Carolina, Tampa Bay, Seattle, San Francisco, Baltimore versus Pittsburgh, and potentially Saints versus Falcons, where if the Bucks beat the Panthers, the Saints are playing for the Bucks and the Falcons are playing for the Panthers. What the hell is going to happen on Sunday if that's really the case? We're going to go over all of this and more in a few moments, folks. But before we get in the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more NFL predictions here on the channel. On Friday, we're going to have our NFL best bets, 5 best bets this week for money lines and spreads. And on Saturday, we're going to have our best player props. Both those videos are coming out. Actually, best player props coming out at 3 p.m. Pacific. Our best bets coming out at 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll keep them both at 3, both at 3 p.m. Just made that one up on the spot, or made that decision up on the spot. Best bets, best player props, both up at 3 o'clock Pacific on both Friday and Saturday. You're not going to want to miss us for either of those videos. Also, again, daily college basketball best bets on the channel, daily NBA best bets on the channel, college football predictions are up on the channel, obviously with the playoffs and more. There's more bowl games post the playoffs this week, so go make sure to check that video out if you have not yet. Okay, on to the first of our 16 games this week in the NFL, kicking things off with the NFC South Championship game, kind of. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Carolina Panthers. So this is a really weird scenario that the NFL was not planning for. They 100% thought the Rams were going to beat the Falcons, but yet here we are. Panthers, Buccaneers. Panthers win, they automatically take the division. Buccaneers win, then they will be rooting for the New Orleans Saints, while the Carolina Panthers will be rooting for the Atlanta Falcons. And depending on who wins that game, that will determine the division winner between Tampa and Carolina. I'm going with the Bucks. Okay, I am very split on this. I'm extremely split on it. Because this is going to go one of two ways. And I kind of hope it goes this way for the sake of the Bucks. Even though I want Todd Bowles to be fired, I've been very adamant on the fact I believe Todd Bowles should be fired and should not have a job anymore. But I think Tampa's going to actually show up and win this game. The crowd should be going. They're giving away Mike Evans bobbleheads. There's been a belief around the league, or at least online, that this could be Mike Evans' last game, and this could be Levante David's last game as a Buccaneer. I don't think so for either of those guys, personally. I think it needs to be Todd Bowles' last game, but everything we've seen between Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Bruce Arians on Pat McAfee a couple of days ago, the Bucs are not planning on moving on from Todd Bowles. That does not appear to be in the cards. Bowles is going to be the coach next year. So if you're Tampa, and if you're a fan of Tampa wanting Bowles to be fired, it doesn't really matter. Right? You win the game. He's not being fired regardless. I think the Bucs will take it. I can see it's going one of two ways, though. Tampa's really fired up. They want to win it. Or two, they're already demoralized. They thought their chance was, okay, winning you're in, but now we got to rely on the Saints, which not a bad team to rely on right now, but Atlanta's playing good football. But this team just could be completely demoralized going into this game, and they just get smoked. I think they win, though. I think they beat the Panthers. They're at home. They're at home. Primetime game on ESPN. I think the Bucs take it. Would I bet it? No, not at all. We'll have our best bets out. I'll tell you right now, this won't be on the best bets. I can't confidently tell you the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win a football game because of what they have done down the stretch. If Tampa had won one more game throughout the course of the year in winnable spots, beaten Miami last week, beaten the Falcons at home on Thursday night, the Saints at home, if they had won any of those games, this would be a win-it-in spot. If they had won 2 of those games, you'd already be in the playoffs at this point. Yet here we are. They have done it to themselves. So again, they have no one to blame but themselves for being where they're at currently in this season. I think they beat the Panthers, but I could easily just see this team already demoralized, and the Panthers who know they're playing. Here's the thing again, Carolina's playing for a division. The Bucs are playing to stay alive and scoreboard watch the day after and watch hopefully the Saints beat the Falcons. I'm going to go at Tampa. I'm not confident. I just don't think Carolina rises to the occasion. They have traded wins and losses, the Panthers have, since October 19th. Sure, this is their spot for a win. Bryce Young threw for 54 yards last week, where if they had won, they would have won the division. Nobody wants to go to the playoffs because the loser's just going to play either the Seahawks or Niners and get blown out. Not the Rams anymore because the Rams suck. I'm going with Tampa. I think Bryce Young's going to have a big day because Tampa is going to stuff the run. Carolina's going to have to throw against this team because the Buccaneers secondary sucks, and Todd Bowles, it's in pressure every play. It's stupid. I don't trust Bryce Young to win a must-win. On the road, I don't trust it at all. This team has barely won on the road since the Green Bay game, which, that was a great victory. But other than Green Bay, who have they beaten on the road this season? The Jets and the Falcons? Going Tampa. Not confidently, but I am going with Tampa to win, and we'll talk about that other NFC South game in a little bit. But first, let's go to the Saturday night game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. This will determine who is the number one seed in the NFC, and I believe it's the 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to win this game, and I believe the San Francisco 49ers are going to become the third team in NFL history to play in their own home stadium for the Super Bowl. It's currently what I believe. It's no secret that I've been on the Jacksonville Jaguars train recently, and yes, currently, my Super Bowl is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the San Francisco 49ers playing for the second time this year at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. That is currently my prediction. I'm watching the Niners play, and I'm watching Brock Purdy turn into a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That's what I'm seeing right now. I know their defense sucks, and their defense is absolutely horrible. It's ass, okay? No other way to put it. Yes, the Bears' offense is great. Caleb is great. I don't care. That Niners defense sucks. Brock Purdy goes out there and scores 42 points for him. It was almost not enough. But he does that without George Kittle, with Trent Williams getting injured on the first play of that game. He's thrown... Jake Tunges is getting the most... Tunges has 7 catches for 60 yards. And Brock Purdy goes out there, has 4 total touchdowns, 5 total touchdowns, throws a pick 6 on the first play, completely locks in after that. He's in the Dougie all the time, and the Niners win, and Brock Purdy looks elite. That's the Brock Purdy we saw in his MVP year, or close to MVP year, but now just even better. I'm just saying, if he continues to play like that, you're hard-pressed to pick against this team in the NFC, and you're hard-pressed to pick against them, honestly, to win the Super Bowl. The defense is the problem, and that's the thing here with Seattle. Defensively, can they hold the Seahawks? Guys, I'm going to remain adamant on my point. I don't think Darnold's going to win a big game this year. Now, my long-term outlook changes on the Seahawks now. Because for the longest time, I had always thought about this. Seahawks are going to go to San Francisco. They're going to lose. Or Santa Clara. They're going to lose. And they're going to wind up with the 6th seed. They're going to be behind Los Angeles. And they're going to have to go cross-country to Philly, where they will likely lose. Now it changes. With that Rams loss, the Rams are going to have to go to Philly now. And the Seahawks are going to get to go to either Tampa or Carolina, which changes things immensely. You still have to go cross-country. Seattle did lose to Tampa earlier this year, but right now, no one would expect the Bucs to beat the Seahawks. And Seattle versus Carolina, we just saw that last week, and the Seahawks easily took care of business. So now that buys you another round, and now you're all of a sudden in the final 8. Because I can't trust Sam Darnold in a big game. He's played great this season. I will not lie to you. Again, I think he's a little overrated still, but Darnold's played good football. And obviously he's got a loaded offense around him, but good on Sam for doing so. I've been with the belief that I don't think he can win a big game this year. This is a big game. I don't think he wins it. He beat the Rams on a Thursday night because the Rams kind of choked it, but I'll give Darnold credit. He played well. But now, again, the long-term outlook for me changes on Seattle because they're going to have to go to Carolina or Tampa, and they're going to win that game. And now, okay, they're in the final 8, where they probably will end up back in San Francisco, in my opinion. But that's a story for another day. This game specifically, I'm going with the Niners. I'm going San Francisco to win. I don't think Seattle can rise to the occasion. I know their defense is great, but if the Niners keep playing like this, I don't care what defense you have, they're going to score. McCaffrey mispracticed on Tuesday against the Niners. They're always hurt. McCaffrey won't play. They had a lot of guys out. It looks like Kittle's going to be back. Pearsall should play. Juszczyk didn't practice. I expect him to play. Trent Williams, we'll see about him. This is a playoff-type game. Why? Because the winner automatically advances to the second round. This is for a bye. This is for home field advantage in the NFC playoffs. This game means everything. I think the Niners rise to the occasion, and I don't think the Seahawks do. Sure, it's a piss-poor Niners defense. Okay, ball's in Darnold's court. I don't think he rises to the occasion. Give me San Francisco to win at home. I'm surprised they're dogs, but sign me up. San Francisco gets it done and gets the number 1 seed in the NFC. Niners money line at -105. I'm very shocked at that too. But give me San Francisco. I'm big on this team right now. Niners win, number 1 seed. We'll see you in the divisional round. On now to the new NFC South Championship game. On Sunday, Saints versus Falcons. What a weird position to be in for both these teams. Again, the Falcons, the way I see it, I think Tampa's still going to win. Again, either Tampa wins that game or they just get blown out. Okay, if the game's close, I think Tampa's going to win. If Tampa loses, they're going to lose by 25 points. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there right now. It's either they show up and play or they're going to be demoralized and get blown out. I think they're going to show up. I think Mayfield's going to get that team riled up. Now, again, it's not for the division because the Falcons just beat the Rams. So here we go. Falcons Saints in this timeline that I think is going to happen. This will dictate who wins the South and goes to the playoffs. I'm going to take the Saints. Yep, we get shucked tonight. This is not because I like Tampa, and it's no, I've been it. If you've watched, I like the Bucs quite a bit. I hate Todd Bowles, but I cheer for them. They're not my favorite team. I don't have a favorite team in the NFL, but I cheer for the Bucs. I want them to succeed. I like Baker a lot. I like the guys from obviously the Tom Brady years over there. I like Mike Evans and Godwin, but regardless, the Saints are playing great football right now. It's their longest win streak since Drew Brees was the starting quarterback in New Orleans. They have now gotten to 6-10. And how about Tyler Shuck? Tyler Shuck, who looks to be in line now to win the Rookie of the Year. That's what it's looking like right now for Tyler Shuck. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year. Over Jackson Dart, which, I guess, odds on, he is, and over Tedero McMillan, potentially. Right now, it's looking like Shuck might get it. We'll see. It's not going to be Ibuka. Travion, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Dart, even though Dart and Shuck have similar stats. Right now, the odds-on favorite is Tet, but Tet just had 8 yards last week, or 10 yards last week. I believe it's going to go to Shuck. And if Shuck can beat the Falcons, which is going to now be a game that a lot of people are going to watch, especially if Tampa wins on Saturday, I think Shuck's going to get the award. Watching what Tyler Shuck's been doing, it's been crazy, man. He's playing great football. Tyler Shuck, back-to-back 300-plus yard days. He is carrying this team, and that connection to Chris Olave, this is what Olave's been waiting for since he got into New Orleans, other than the 2-week stretch where Derek Carr was the MVP with the Saints. Remember that? Tyler Shuck's playing phenomenal football, and the New Orleans Saints have now won 4 consecutive games, beating Tampa, Carolina, New York, and Tennessee. Went on the road against the Titans. It was tough, but they got it done, and they covered too, so shout out to the Saints for that one. Now they go to Atlanta. We get shucked tonight, though. I'm taking the Saints. I'm taking New Orleans. I absolutely love the spot. I love the spread. I love the money line here. I know the Falcons are playing great football. They've won 3 in a row, beating Tampa, Arizona, and then beating the Rams. I think the Saints get them here. I think they do. It's a team which I believe they're getting some guys back this week, too, oddly enough. I think Kamara actually might be back this week. He hasn't played in a while. Hasn't played since the last Falcons game on the 23rd of November. I think Kamara actually might return for Week 18, at least as of now, he hasn't been shut down. We're seeing a lot of Audric Estime, the former Notre Dame running back, but I'm telling you, Tyler Shuck, he's slinging it. And Shuck's playing phenomenal football. Defensively, I'm a little concerned about them, and I'm a little concerned about their secondary. Obviously, Chase Young had the strip sack touchdown against Cam Ward last week, but I'm a little scared about the Saints defense. I think they're going to be fine. Atlanta obviously had a really big game against the Rams. That was kind of their Super Bowl, though. I know they're still at home here. Bijan Robinson had a phenomenal game, but the Rams beat themselves. Let's be honest. The Rams beat themselves. Stafford 3 picks. Stafford throws the pick 6. Yeah, Kirk had some tries, but that team, again, the Falcons almost choked again, like they've done historically, since Super Bowl 51, like they keep doing. They almost choked a 24-3 lead. They held on, game-winning drive, because game-winning drives in the NFL now are 25 yards, but it's okay, because the damn kickoff rules, but that's neither here or there. Bijan had a big game, had the 93-yard touchdown. Other than that, the Falcons didn't do much. It's a good win, but it's a game that the Rams kind of just gave them. I think New Orleans wins here. I really think so, and yes, that means I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win the division again at 8-9. The most hilarious way and most Bucs way that's going to happen, though, would be the Panthers win the division because the Falcons win. Imagine that. Panthers lose, but, you're still in the playoffs because the Falcons get you there. It doesn't matter. Whoever wins that game is losing to Seattle. I can kind of believe, though, okay, Bucs might get Seattle. Probably not, but I can buy into that. Carolina, hell no. So, anyways, give me Saints on the road +3, +140. Next up, we move on to the Battle of Ohio, Bengals-Browns. I don't want to spend the most time on some of these non-playoff games because ultimately they just don't matter. But I think the Browns keep this one close. Guys, Myles Garrett is looking for the sack record this game. I think he'll probably get it, knowing the Bengals' offensive line. We'll see, though. The Steelers last week specifically went out there and told Myles Garrett essentially, "You're not breaking this record. We're going to make sure you don't break this." And it's what ultimately cost Steelers the game. I mean, they were so focused on not allowing Myles Garrett to break that record. Didn't open up the playbook at all. Short passing routes all game long. Quick stuff out of the hand out of Rodgers. Running, big run game out of the Steelers. Really weird game plan for Pittsburgh last week. Almost like that game was, almost like that game was rigged to get Steelers-Ravens on Sunday night on Week 18. I don't know. Maybe. I'm joking. Am I? I am. Anyways, Browns beat the Steelers last week. Shedeur Sanders' second win as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Sanders threw 2 picks, but again, is a rookie quarterback. He's playing fairly well, and yes, he's still better than Dylan Gabriel. It's not even close. So I think Shedeur's their guy next year. I actually think they're going to do it. I think they're going to fire Stefanski. Are they going to bring in Dion? I don't think they're going to. I don't know if this is the best move for them. I'd like to see it. I think it'd be hilarious, but I don't think so. Just where the Browns are going to be in the draft, they're going to have no opportunity to take a quarterback. We know Mendoza's going to go 1 to the Raiders. And if Dante Moore decides to go out, which I think he should, because he's going to get picked. He's not. Dante Moore, if he goes out next year, might be a top quarterback, but he's a guaranteed top 2 right now if he goes out this season. There's no guarantee he goes second. He's not the second quarterback off the board next year. So if Dante Moore goes out this year, he easily could get drafted by the Jets or, hell, probably the Cardinals at 5. So that's my point again. The Browns aren't going to get an opportunity to take Dante Moore because there's the Jets and Cardinals ahead of them who would be looking for a quarterback before Cleveland gets an opportunity. So the Browns are probably going to have to stick with Shedeur next year. They're not going to get a veteran. I mean, they might bring back Joe Flacco maybe. I could see it. I think Flacco's probably destined for Indianapolis again, just because they're not going to have a starter with Daniel Jones out. But regardless, or the Steelers, I could see Flacco going to. But I think the Browns are going to go with Shedeur again next year, which is great. They got to trade Gabriel because those two cannot coexist in the locker room with each other, especially with the posting by Gabriel's fiance. What I can say about this game, though, between the Browns and the Bengals, it's going to be close. I think the Bengals probably win, but guys, it's an AFC North matchup, and historically, Browns versus Bengals is always close. We'll look at Week 1 this year. 17-16 victory for the Bengals against the Joe Flacco-led Browns. Now, yes, Joe Flacco is now on the opposite sideline this game. Flacco starts the year as a Brown taking on the Bengals and will end the year as a Bengal taking on the Browns. Joe Burrow is expected to play. Joe Burrow is expected to start. Again, these games are hard to predict at times because, well, I mean, you don't know who's going to play. It's a Week 18 game. You don't know who's really motivated to play and what teams are. They might want to, see different players. I'm going to go with the Browns here. The Browns are going to try to win this game because of Myles Garrett, because they still have a rookie quarterback that they're trying to evaluate fully. We'll see if Harold Fannin plays. He got injured last week against Pittsburgh. He is questionable with the groin injury. We shall see. If it matters, Dylan Gabriel's on the injury report. We'll see about that. But again, it's Shedeur's squad. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns to cover against the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, Bengals defense sucks. Shedeur should have a great game like he did against Tennessee. He should be able to open up the playbook. Stefanski's really coaching for his job at this point now, so he might as well just throw everything at the book at the Bengals this week. I'm going to go plus 7.5. Again, these Ohio games are usually close, so I'm going to take the Browns on the points. Next up, we move on to the NFC North, as the Minnesota Vikings are at home in Minneapolis, taking on the Green Bay Packers at US Bank Stadium. Give me Minnesota. Green Bay, like the Los Angeles Chargers, who we will talk about later in the video, are kind of throwing this game. Kind of. I don't think they have any interest in winning this game. I don't think they are going to play any of their starters. I don't think Jordan Love's playing. I don't think Malik Willis is playing. Malik Willis is injured. I don't think they're going to start him this week if he's any bit injured. We know Jordan Love's hurt as well. Guys, I believe Clayton Tune's going to start for the Green Bay Packers. I believe so, which I think 5.5 is going to be brilliant in this spot. Because there's no reason to bring any of these guys back this week. You can't go up at all. Sure, I mean the Rams are playing their guys because Sean McVay is saying, well, our team we're not focused right now. We're not playing good football. We need to get things sorted. Regardless of what the Packers do this week, they're not going to be 100%. Because either you push back your backup quarterback, Malik Willis, who's probably going to start somewhere in the league next year, I think. Arizona, Miami, Pittsburgh. Malik Willis is going to start somewhere next year in the NFL. He is a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. He is very deserving of being a starting quarterback and getting that opportunity fully. Never fully got a chance in Tennessee. Had a very short leash out there. Really never got the opportunity in general. Anyways, Malik Willis has a shoulder injury. Jordan Love's got a concussion to the point where we saw Clayton Tune have to play, and obviously Tune came in on that Saturday game against the Baltimore Ravens, competitive game, but then Tune comes in, throws a pick immediately, game over essentially. Malik Willis kept the Packers in that game. I don't think Willis is playing. If anything, it's going to be Jordan Love playing or not. I think they're going to sit their guys. LaFleur hasn't said yet if the Packers are sitting their players. There's no reason to play. You know your matchup. You're going to Chicago. And you've already been in dogfights this season with the Bears. You should have won your last matchup in Chicago. You're going to be still injured going into that Bears game, but there's no reason to take on a Vikings team that is getting hot right now. And it looks like Brosmer is going to start. I don't know if actually McCarthy may play. JJ's questionable. Okay, clown 9 all you want and get on McCarthy all you want. He's better than Max Brosmer, and it's not even close. I don't know how the Vikings beat the Lions because the Lions are kind of a joke right now. But if McCarthy plays, guys, we've seen progression out of McCarthy, and we've seen JJ McCarthy continue to evolve as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So if JJ plays this week, this is an automatic for the Vikings. The Vikings, I said this, a couple weeks ago against the Giants, why I was so big on the Vikings and why I had them to cover it in the Best Bets video. The Vikings don't really care about their pick. I mean, sure, they care some, but they don't care to the point where they're going to be purposely losing. All they want to see is progression out of their rookie quarterback. Because yes, JJ is still a rookie. Did not play last season. They want to see progression out of the rookie quarterback, and they want to see him gain confidence. They don't care if that drops him 2 picks in the draft. At this point, they're picking 17th. The worst they can get is 18th. They don't care if they're the first team out of the playoffs. They just want to see their team look better going into next season. They're going to beat the Packers this week. One team's motivated to win and motivated to see their rookie quarterback look better. The other team is just waiting to go to Chicago next week and hoping that they have enough left in the tank to make a run in the postseason, which I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do at all. But I'm going to go Minnesota. I don't think we see Jordan Love. He will probably be cleared to play, but if anything, he's going to play the first quarter. He's going to get out of there. They don't want to risk. I mean, it's a concussion. He's probably not going to get re-injured, but they don't want anyone to have the opportunity of getting hurt. Either they're going to go Clayton Tune after the first quarter. Green Bay probably plays their starters early, gets them 2 drives, gets them out of there, and they're getting ready for Chicago. Give me Vikings to win and Vikings to cover. Minnesota -5.5 at US Bank. On to our next game, completely meaningless spot. Well, it's meaningful for the number 1 pick. I will say this, okay? If the New York Giants beat the Dallas Cowboys, the Las Vegas Raiders will have clinched the number 1 pick. I think. No. Yes, the Jets can't get it. Yeah, they will clinch. So, weird spot, but if the Giants win, the Raiders will clinch the number 1 pick, and then the Raiders can go into that Chiefs game and try to actually win. Like, I'm serious. If the Raiders see the Giants win, which they probably won't, the Raiders will actually try to beat the Chiefs because they have nothing to lose at that point. You've already got 1 clinched up, and you can actually try some stuff. I will get to Raiders-Chiefs later in the video and the very obvious tanking that's going on in Las Vegas right now. But anyways, Giants versus Cowboys. I'm going with the Cowboys. It looks like the Cowboys are playing their guys. Everything I've seen out of the Cowboys, Dak has said he's going to play. They just released Travion Diggs. I get it. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't played that well. It's just you gave him a lot of money and whatever. He's going to end up on a playoff roster. I expect probably the Bears, the Packers. I know that's what Orlovsky said, but I mean, it's true. Those are the teams that would need corner help right now. We'll see who plays this week for the Cowboys. I don't think Javonte Williams is playing. I don't think Jake Ferguson is playing. Both those guys got injured in the Washington game, but I think we can expect CD, Pickens, Dak. Why not? I mean, yeah, you're losing a draft pick. You're losing positioning a little bit on your pick, but not by much. Right now, they currently have the 14th pick. I mean, they could slide to, the 16th pick. I don't think that matters too much to them. I think they're going to go into New York and win. The Giants are going to try to lose. I think so. They beat the Raiders last week. Jackson Dart puts out a performance saying, all right, hey, you can't get rid of me. Like, look, I just won our team a football game, and he looked great. Giants looked good. The Raiders were trying their hardest to lose, but Jackson Dart played a good game. Wan'Dale Robinson, another 100-plus yard performance. But a good victory on the road for the Giants, picking up their 3rd win of the season. An eventful game, I will say. But a 34-10 win for the Giants. The Cowboys should outscore them. Here's the thing, again, you play Dallas, you're going to have to score a lot of points. The Giants' defense sucks. I know the Raiders only scored 10 points in them, but that's the Raiders. And the Raiders are the worst team in the NFL. And Geno Smith, other than, Brady Cook, is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And you can make the case Brady Cook's better than Geno Smith. Smith is awful. And I'll get to the Raiders in a second, later in the video. But the Giants were gift-wrapped in a victory. They're not beating the Cowboys here. They're not winning this game. I think Dallas is going to get this one. Everything we have seen, Dak's playing, CD's playing, Pickens is playing. I don't think Javonte's going to play no reason. I think they're probably going to they're going to get a look at Malik Davis, who had a pretty big night after Javonte left the game against Washington on Christmas Day. So I think we see, again, a somewhat banged up Cowboys squad, but the Cowboys are like Minnesota to a sense too, a team that did miss the playoffs, but obviously had a much better year than New York, and a team that doesn't really care if, we slip up a little bit in the draft. They just want to see their guys look good and gain momentum towards next season, because it's always win now mode in Dallas, and yet this team can never put together a playoff run ever. But I am actually a little bit optimistic about the Cowboys next season, but what happens in the future, you're going to have to pay some of these guys, and that's why they release Diggs. I don't know, man. I'm going to go the Cowboys to win and cover 3.5. I like it quite a bit. I mean, the Giants are not going to be trying to win. I'm going to go Cowboys quite easily here. The Giants don't want to slip up past 2. That's the thing. Because here's the thing about the Giants as well. They knew they weren't picking Mendoza. They were going to trade down if they got one, but now they get their pick at anybody in the draft. Because they were never going to pick Mendoza. So now they get their pick of Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain. You can take Carnell Tate if you want, Caleb Downs. You can take any of these guys now. You get your pick. Because the Raiders are going Mendoza. So really big spot for the Giants to lose here, and I think they absolutely do that. Okay, on to our next game. We move to the AFC South, as we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, your future Super Bowl winning Jacksonville Jaguars, hosting the Tennessee Titans at Everbank Stadium over in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going with the Jaguars, obviously. They're at home against the Titans. I don't think the game's competitive. Jacksonville's playing their starters. It's a full-go game for the Jags. They need to win. If they lose this game, they could lose the AFC South. It's that simple. They lose. Texans beat the Colts. We'll get to that game in a little bit. That's coming up right after this game. Then they could have to go. It would just be flipped, right? If I'll break this down as easily as possible. They lose this game, they're going to Houston. They win this game, Houston's going to them. These two teams have played this season, obviously, twice, in Houston and Jacksonville. Jacksonville won the game in Florida. The Texans won the game in Houston. So it's huge. You got to get this victory, and I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to do exactly that. Actually, sorry, no. They're going to get the Bills at home. They're going to get the Bills. Not the Texans. But still, you rather get the Bills at home than have to go to Houston. Obviously, you want a home game. So Jacksonville is going to try to win, obviously. They're 12.5-point favorites, playing the worst teams in the NFL, the Tennessee Titans. They're pretty clearly going to win the game at home, and they're going to win the AFC South, which is absolutely huge for this team, getting the number 3 seed. They could go up, but I don't expect the Patriots to lose, so I expect Jacksonville to stay in the 3 spot, even though I really want the Patriots to lose, because then we would get some great matchups in the first round. Then we get New England, Buffalo in the first round, and Chargers, Jags. I really want that rather than likely New England, Los Angeles, and Buffalo, Jacksonville. Anyways, though, the Jaguars will easily handle the Tennessee Titans. Trevor Lawrence is likely going to be an MVP finalist this year. I fully believe that. I think when they get to the NFL awards, it's going to be probably Drake May, Matthew Stafford. They do 4, don't they? May, Stafford, Lawrence, probably Josh Allen or Bo Nix. They might just do 3. There's really only 3 guys who are deserving of potentially being voted upon. It's May, Stafford, and Lawrence. And Stafford, again, he's the clear number 3. But what a year for Trevor Lawrence, man. A year in which you had pundits and media talk show hosts saying, oh, is this it for the Lawrence experience in Jacksonville? Yes, he's under contract, but are they going to look to move on? No, Liam Cohen's a genius, and Trevor Lawrence is fully reaching that potential. Liam Cohen goes on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and says that Jacoby Myers was their answer at receiver, or just their answer in general to unlock their offense, and he's right. Brian Thomas has looked better since Jacoby Myers has been back. Travis Etienne's looked better in the past game. Trevor Lawrence has looked better. And just imagine next year when you have all of those guys, you extended Myers, and next year you're going to have Myers, Thomas, and Travis Hunter. The future is really bright in Jacksonville, and this team just continues to win, as the Jaguars currently have won 7 consecutive games, and they're about to roll into the playoffs with 8 consecutive victories. How is this not the coach of the year? The coach of the year is Liam Cohen. They're going to give it to Mike Vrabel or Kyle Shanahan. I'm fine giving it to, I think Shanahan deserves it over Vrabel personally. But it should be Liam Cohen's award. This is the Jaguars, who were dead in the water last season. They had the number 2 overall pick, or I guess they traded up for the pick, but they still one of the worst teams last year. I know Lawrence got injured, but look at them now. This looks like a perennial contender for years now to come in the AFC South, and they should dominate the Tennessee Titans, who are obviously bottom of the barrel, currently holding the 4th pick in the NFL draft. No reason to win. Almost had a victory last week against the Saints. We're playing from ahead for 3 quarters against New Orleans last week. and choke the game away. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this one and cover 12.5 points as well at home in Duval County. On to our next one. Let's move to the other AFC South matchup. Obviously, these games are going on at the same time. So the Texans aren't going to rest their guys, obviously, even though Houston, this does matter for seeding for Houston. And if you're the Texans, I think you'd much rather go to Baltimore/Pittsburgh than Jacksonville. So Texans are trying to win to get that 5th seed in the AFC playoffs, and they're taking on the Indianapolis Colts at home in Riley Leonard's first start. Ooh. Yeah, I don't like this for Riley Leonard. Here's the thing. I know Phillip Rivers likely will not be the starting quarterback next year for the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's going to go back to coaching high school football in Alabama. I think they should play Phillip Rivers this week. You know Riley Leonard's not going to be your starter next year. I mean, I know you want to see what you have. Your starting quarterback's likely Joe Flacco. It's likely a Malik Willis. It's a Mac Jones. It's take a flyer on a Tua or a Kyler Murray. That's your starting quarterback next season. It's not Riley Leonard. I'm just being honest. Daniel Jones is going to be the long-term quarterback. They're going to be able to get Daniel Jones, I think, at a cheaper price in the offseason. I think if I'm the Colts, I'm going to offer Daniel Jones like 3 years. And all right, we'll have 2 years post-injury from you. And, it's basically you're locked up on a 3-year deal, but first year off of injury, it's kind of a prove-it year, and we can decide if we want to sit you or not your final year under contract. And I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to get much better because there's going to be teams that are looking to win now. So if I'm the Colts, unfortunately, you kind of have to approach next season as what the Pacers are doing this year with that Halliburton. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is, Tyrese Halliburton to the Colts, but that's kind of how you have to approach things a little bit and say, okay, we're going to go vet one year, we're going to go Joe Flacco, or we're going to try with Mac Jones. I think Flacco's their guy, I'm going to be honest. Flacco already knows the system. He's been here before. That's why I think it should be Rivers, but that's neither here or there. The reason I want them to start Rivers this week is because he's 105 yards off of passing Ben Roethlisberger on the all-time passing list. That'd put him at 7th all time over a future Hall of Famer in Roethlisberger. That'd be huge. But it looks like he's going to end up 104 yards short of Roethlisberger, and Rivers will stay put at 8th all time. Stafford, by the way, just passed Roethlisberger on Monday Night Football. Matthew Stafford is now 6th all time. Regardless of all that, though, we get Colts and Texans this week. Riley Leonard will be the starting quarterback. We shall see. Well, Rivers, I guess, is going to be the backup, right? Right? Yeah, because Richardson's not going to be back. So Rivers is going to suit up, I guess. Unless they move Rivers to the emergency third-string guy. But I don't even know if Rippon's under contract anymore. No, yeah, Rivers is going to be the backup. So in a weird circumstance, Riley Leonard could get injured, which I'm not wishing injury on anybody. I'm not at all. But there's a weird circumstance out there, weird situation out there, where Leonard gets hurt and all of a sudden Phil Rivers is back in a football game, in a game that he wasn't really expecting to play against, the best defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. I will say this, okay, the Texans are going to blow out the Texans are going to blow out the Colts. I hate Riley Leonard's first ever career start against this team and this defense that had Justin Herbert in hell last week. Don't get me wrong, the Texans, they're a great defense. That offense is limiting them from doing anything in the playoffs, to the point where I don't even know if they win in the first round. I don't know if they go to up north. This is a team from Houston, Texas, and a dome team from Houston, Texas, going either to Pittsburgh or Baltimore, the cold in the first round. Zero confidence in that, guys. Absolutely zero confidence in them actually doing that in the playoffs. And sure, the defense should translate, but offensively, oh man, I don't know about that. Anyway, I know Stroud played in Columbus and at Ohio State, but still, I don't know about that. Regardless, that defense is going to shut down Riley Leonard this week. Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a tough out for Riley Leonard against this defense. The Colts are completely demoralized. You've lost 7 consecutive games. You were 8-2. You're now 6 consecutive games. You're now 8-8. You don't even have your own first-round pick. It's going to the Jets. Just rough sledding for the Colts. I'm taking the Texans, but again, their defense is great. They had Herbert in hell last week. Defenses, stifles every opposing offense every single week. Stroud's not playing great football. The offense is barely getting over 20 every single week, and that's what's going to limit them in the postseason. So I'm just getting that out there right now. I'm taking the Texans to win and cover just because I don't know if the Colts are even going to score and how many of their starters are playing this week for Indianapolis. I mean, this team is completely demoralized. Give me Texans via blowout. I just don't know how well Leonard plays against this defense, who, again, Texans are playing for something. Houston's not. Let's move on now to the final game at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Obviously, the Bills are just moving across the lot over to their new stadium in Buffalo. Shout out to the Bills for not building a dome like every other team in the country is. Anyways, Bills versus Jets in Buffalo or Orchard Park. Final time from Highmark. Give me the Bills. The Bills are playing for something. Actually, are they though? Because if they lose, no, the Chargers get 3. But do the Bills care? That's the thing. But here's another thing. The backups aren't losing to the Jets. There you go. The backups won't lose to the Jets. The Jets are awful. So awful. They have committed to Brady Cook, I think, for the rest of the season as a starting quarterback, I believe. I don't know if Breece Hall's playing this week. Breece Hall got injured last week. He said he's fine, but are the Jets going to play Breece Hall? I don't know. Isaiah Davis is out as well. That's their backup running back. So there's a very good chance they're on a third string. Kide Ngannou out of Iowa State, or they're on Khalil Herbert. Yes, Khalil Herbert's still in the league. They're on either one of those guys. If Hall and Davis are out, again, you are starting Brady Cook, who, I get it, start the young guy. Brady Cook's got 700 yards, 1 touchdown, and 7 interceptions in the NFL. It's not good. Tyrod Taylor should be the starting quarterback of this team, but obviously they don't really care to start a 36-year-old at this point in the season, so I get it. Brady Cook's likely your long-term backup, so get him experience. Even though I think, isn't Fields under contract next year, so Fields kind of has to be their backup? Right? I think so. Whatever. I'm going with the Bills here. Even though, I don't know if their starters are going to play or not. I don't really think it matters. That's why I think the line's at 7, because I kind of expect the Bills to play their starters in the first half and then pull them. I don't think they want to completely let their fans down for their final game at home unless they miraculously get the AFC Championship game at home, which they won't. Now, here's the thing. They probably shouldn't play Josh Allen, though, this week. And I'm like Mitchell Trubisky, who I think is still one of the better backups in the NFL. Trubisky and the Bills at home will be able to beat the Jets by more than 7 points. 100%. I just don't know if Allen's going to play. They shouldn't play Allen, but I think they're going to. Because Sean McDermott, I don't know what goes on upstairs sometimes with Sean McDermott. I'll just say that to be nice. Allen's got a bunch of injuries. The foot's bothering him right now. Had x-rays. They came out negative, obviously. And that Bills game against the Eagles, I'm just so disappointed in that team. For one, why are you going for 2? The Eagles go 0 for 8 passing in the second half. They have 13 yards all half. And yet you feel the need to go for 2 and end the game. Are you a little concerned with the Money Badger missing that extra point? I know they just cut the Money Badger and they're going back to, I believe, Prater this week. But are you a little concerned about that? I guess. But take your points and go to OT. They had all the momentum. You're at home. Take the points and go to overtime. You're going to win. And yet they lose, and now they're going to find themselves going to Jacksonville instead of going to Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Again, we just mentioned that with the Texans. Much more favorable playing the North winner than it is going to Duval County and playing the Jags right now, a red-hot Jaguars team. And I'll tell you this now. I like Josh Allen. I've cheered for the Bills. They're not going to Jacksonville winning in the first round. Right now, you can bet on Jags-Bills, and the Jags are dogs. That is a steal. The Jags are plus 100 at home against the Bills in the first round. Absolutely. Bet on the Jags right now to win the Super Bowl while you can. I'm just going to put that out there. Especially win the AFC. Let's say that. Win the AFC. I still think they're winning the Super Bowl, but AFC's obviously a safer bet. They have no reason to play Josh Allen, though. I know Josh Allen lost in the game. For as bad of a call as going for 2 was, Josh Allen's got to complete that pass. It is what it is. They should not play Josh Allen this week. I have a feeling they will. I'm going to go Bills to win and to cover. It doesn't matter who plays. The backups for the Bills will still cover 7.5. If it's Trubisky, I'm fine with Mitch and the guys. Give me 7.5 for the Bills at home to beat the Jets. Next up, we go to America's Game of the Week over at Soldier Field, Chicago, Illinois. We're talking about teams moving. This might be the Indiana Bears in a couple seasons as they're threatening to move to North Indiana. They're going to be in Gary? Oh, that's going to be great. Booming economy in Gary, Indiana. Anyways, the Chicago Bears are taking on the Detroit Lions. Very conflicted on this. Very conflicted. The Bears are going to play their guys. They have to. Because it's the difference between the 2 and the 3 seed. And with all due respect to the Packers, I'd much rather play the Packers if I'm the Bears than the Rams. I know the Rams are losing. I know the Rams are playing crappy football. Not a team you particularly, if you have a chance to avoid the Rams in the playoffs, you're going to take it. I think the Bears much rather play an injured and banged up Packers team than the Rams at this point. So, if I'm the Bears, you're playing your guys. I know they're injured. Luther Burden gets injured on the last play. Odunze's already out. We'll see who plays this week. I think the Bears are still going to beat the Lions. I'm concerned, though, for Chicago, and I wouldn't touch this game Because something about the Lions in a meaningless game, I feel like they might just play free and win this one. Now that the season doesn't matter. I don't know. Amon-Ra is questionable. If I'm the Lions, don't play Amon-Ra. You have no reason to win this game. Jared Goff's playing, though. Jared Goff's already said, well, I have a commitment and a duty as the quarterback and the leader of this team to play the final game of the season, even if we are eliminated. Good on Jared Goff, who is quietly putting up another all-pro season, Pro Bowl season. He gets no respect, though. Because, his team's 8-8. His entire O-line's injured. And Jared Goff has 4,200 passing yards and 33 touchdowns. Which, by the way, is third most yards in the NFL, second most touchdowns in the NFL. Jared Goff's about to put up 4,500 yards again. And nobody gives this guy credit. How about 3 consecutive years of 4,500 yards for Jared Goff? 4 consecutive seasons of 4,400 yards for Jared Goff. 3 straight years of 30-plus touchdowns for Jared Goff. Give Jared Goff the damn respect that he deserves for being a top quarterback in the league, because that's what he is. Absolutely, that's what Jared Goff is. So, I don't know. And I got to hear idiots like Ryan Clark come on to ESPN and say, Jared Goff's performance is unacceptable. The window's over. They can't win with Jared Goff. What? Are you watching this game? Are you watching the O-line? Just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why Jared Goff's so hated. I don't get it. I don't know why there's dumbass Lions fans who think Goff's the problem with this team. Trust me, guys, the Lions need to lose this game, though, because then they get the 4th place schedule. That's the difference between playing the Cardinals and the Rams next year. That's the difference between playing the Titans and the Colts next season. That's huge. I mean, you desperately want to play that 4th place schedule next season. I think they will lose because, again, the Lions couldn't win a game when it actually mattered. Now it doesn't matter, and they're playing a team that actually needs to win, likely without Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Jared Goff's going to have a big game. Trust me, I think the Lions are going to be very motivated to play spoiler. They've beaten Chicago once this season. They're going to try to do it again. You got to take the Bears, though. Got to take the Bears because the Lions' defense sucks. And I know, again, the defense wasn't the problem last week because Max Brosmer wasn't very good for the Vikings. I think the Lions' offense is going to look better, but this is going to really sum up the entire season this week. Jared Goff and the offense play well. They score a lot of points. They can't get a stop on defense. We just watched what the Bears did last week against that Niners defense, which isn't very good either. They're going to carve the Lions defense. Give me Bears to win and Bears to cover. Would I bet it? Definitely not. It's a divisional game. Well, they're all divisional games this week, but should be a competitive one. Dan Campbell against Ben Johnson again. Would not touch it. Give me Lions to lose and Bears to cover. So -3 for the Bears. Bears -160 to win. Would not bet it at all, though. Again, give me Chicago. Next up, we go on to the AFC West as we've got the Denver Broncos taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. A game that kind of matters. No, it does matter. It matters for the Broncos. This is to lock up the number 1 seed, and this is to lock up home field advantage in the AFC playoffs. I will say this, though. After the Jaguars game, and I called it, too, I thought Jacksonville was going to go into Denver and beat them, and I was absolutely right about that. I don't have as much confidence about Denver at all anymore in the playoffs. Guys, the way I'm mapping out the playoffs right now, I'll just tell you this. The way I'm mapping this out, I think Denver is going to get the winner of the AFC North game in the second round. Because I think Steelers/Ravens are going to beat the Texans in the first round of the playoffs. Is it crazy to say I think the winner of the AFC North is going to go to Denver and win in the first round? Guys, I've been the biggest Broncos guy this season. I love that defense. I just feel like in the playoffs, in these close games, I don't know if they're going to come out of it. Especially if you're playing Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. I don't know. I get it. It's hard to go to Mile High and win. And I could definitely envision a world where we see Jacksonville going to Denver in the AFC Championship game and Jacksonville likely just takes it again. But I don't know. I don't know, man. That Jaguars game, and I thought the Jags were going to do it, but the way that they did it, I'm not sold on Denver right now. Denver barely beats the Chiefs. They struggled against Kansas City, beat the Packers, but the Packers have now lost 3 in a row. I don't know. And here's the thing, another game against a bad team, a team that's, the Chargers have said they're not, basically the Chargers have already detailed to you, they're not playing to win this week. It's the same thing as the Packers. The Chargers are basically stuck with the last seed of the AFC. If they win, they could end up with 6, but that would just force them another matchup with the Broncos next week, which, sure, you could get, but the amount of damage and the amount of wear and tear Justin Herbert has right now, and this entire team's just injured, Herbert just banged up, There is no reason for this team to try to win this week. You know what your objective is next week. You're likely going on the road and you're going to New England. And guys, I think the Chargers like that matchup. I think Harbaugh likes that matchup. I think he's looking at this and saying, all right, hold on. The Patriots haven't not beaten a really good team yet this season. That's kind of, I mean, they have, but they haven't consistently beaten good teams this season. They've had one of the worst strength of schedules of the year. Who knows if they have Stephon Diggs in the playoffs now, too, by the way. I don't know what's going to happen with him. That's a whole question mark. But I think they're looking at this and saying, okay, if we're fully healthy going into that Patriots game, we have a chance. Rather than, okay, we try our hardest to win this game and what? It just ends up we're back in Denver again next week? Because that's the scenario that happens. They win this week against the Broncos. They end up back in Denver next week. Yeah, they're going to lose. Now, the real question is, can the Broncos actually cover a football game for once? Yes, I think they do. Yeah, I'm going to go Broncos to cover. They never blow anybody out. Every game of the Broncos is a one-score win, and good for them. They get it done. I think they do just put away this Chargers team that are going to be, I think they're going to be sitting everybody, man. I mean, even like those defensive starters, there's no reason to play these guys this week. You know what your objective is next week. You just get this game over with and focus on the playoffs. You're going into the playoffs 11-6. It is what it is. If you had beaten the Texans last week, this would be a different story. They lose. Herbert's banged up. There's no reason to try and win this game. I'm going to go Denver to win and cover. Denver is playing for something. This is the number one seed for the Broncos. And don't forget as well, which I think is a very good comp. Last year, final game of the year for the Broncos at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs were not playing their starters. Broncos were. Denver needed it to get into the playoffs, to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs. Chiefs already have the number one seed locked up. Denver went in there and won 38-0. So, again, my point. Exactly. And a game that actually matters to them. Last year, they played a team that did not need it. The Chiefs did not care at all about that game. And the Broncos beat them down and blew them out, shut them out 38-0. Same kind of spot with the Chargers. The Chargers don't need this game. Broncos do. Denver goes in there and probably blows them out. Would I bet it? Maybe. We'll see on the best bets in a couple days. Next up, we stay in the AFC West. The Raiders get one more opportunity to mess this up. They get one more opportunity to mess up the number one pick. But you know what? Pete Carroll, the Raiders front office, the Raiders organization, the franchise, they're determined to mess this up. Maybe, I don't know if Pete Carroll is, they're determined to not mess this up. I don't know if Pete Carroll's done after this season. I feel like he kind of is. I think they're going to go complete youth movement after this. If I'm the Raiders, I am hurling the biggest amount of money possible at Curt Cignetti. He's not going to leave. He's already signed that extension with Indiana, and I would hate for that to happen, by the way. But I think the Raiders should try. I don't think they're going to be successful, but we'll see who they bring in as their new head coach next season. I genuinely have no idea who they may hire. Marcus Freeman, we know, is not coming to the NFL. He's staying at Notre Dame. I know the Giants were definitely in on Marcus Freeman. He's staying, obviously, in South Bend. Regardless, the Raiders need to lose one more game, and they have their franchise guy. And hopefully this goes a lot better than their last first-round quarterback they picked. Obviously, I'm talking about Jamarcus Russell. I think it will. Fernando Mendoza is actually a very smart player. Mendoza actually cares about the game of football. Jamarcus Russell didn't. Jamarcus Russell didn't know his playbook. Anyways, Geno's probably not playing. I don't think he is. He leaves that Giants game with injury. Kenny Pickett has to play. So it'll probably be Pickett this week. Don't be surprised if the Raiders shut down Ashton Genty. They've already shut down both Brock Bowers and Max Crosby. Crosby goes out and posts a video on Instagram shooting a basketball around. He says, I'm perfectly fine, but team's sitting him out because they want to clearly lose. And guys, watching that Raiders-Giants game, it has never been more apparent for a team that a team is trying to lose. Watch that game. It is disgusting what the Raiders are doing against the Giants. I mean, watch that. Geno Smith is the tank commander. Because you would think maybe, he's playing for his job. I don't want them to get a quarterback. I'm going to prove why, I'm a right back. Geno, oh my goodness. That interception, first drive that the Raiders had, first big drive the Raiders had, it was a tie game, 0-0. I don't know, it might have been 3-0. Regardless, they're working the ball down the field. I think it was 0-0. It was 0-0. They're working the ball down the field. They got it to the 10-yard line. I'm thinking, okay, great. Raiders are looking good this week. Geno throws a pick into double coverage in front of his receiver, not even close to where his receiver was, and throws a pick. They eventually bring him down like the 50-yard line. But it was a horrible pass by Geno. I don't know if that's just tanking or Geno sucks. Either or, the Raiders suck. And the one game we saw Pickett, he looked horrible, albeit against the Eagles. So I think Pickett might actually see some success this week against the Kansas City team. But the Chiefs look fairly solid against the Broncos at home. And Chris Aludicon at quarterback, he actually looked pretty solid last week against the Broncos in spots against the best defense in the NFL. I know he only had 66 yards, but looked somewhat poised in the pocket, made some big plays. This is Chris Aludicon's only shot. This is his real. I guess Aludicon's playing to be the backup again next season. He's playing to basically boot Gardner out of town and move Minshew to another city and establish himself as the number 2 quarterback behind Mahomes. So Aludicon's playing for something. Andy Reid's coaching. Might be the final game ever for Travis Kelce. So watch Kelce total yards this week. Just saying. Player props coming up later in the week. Just saying. We'll see. I think Kelce's done. I think this is his last game. If I'm Kelce, I'm coming back for one more year though. Why not give it one more ride with Mahomes? But I guess not. I guess he would be 30. He would be 37 next year. But if I'm Kelce, Kelce's not even washed. I don't know why. Okay, yes, he's dropped more passes than he ever has this year. But 900 yards and you're gonna retire? I guess. Again, he's not the same physically, obviously, and the Chiefs have not been the same. I don't even think Kelce's playing that poorly though. He's having a better year this year than he did last year. I don't know. Anyways. Give me the Chiefs to win at home or on the road. The Raiders are going to try everything imaginable to lose. I witnessed this team finally score a touchdown, cut the lead to 10 or 11, and then immediately let the Giants kick returner go untouched 100-plus yards into the end zone. I've never seen a team clearly trying to lose more. Chiefs winning cover. The Raiders are actively trying to lose football games. Next up, let's go to the NFC West. Rams versus Cardinals. Zero confidence in the Los Angeles Rams going to the playoffs. I'll tell you that. They're starting their starters this week against this piss-poor defense, one of the worst defenses in the NFL. The Rams will dominate this team. This is going to be a feel-good game for the Rams. They're going to be, boosted or pumped up going into the postseason. I don't think Davante Adams is going to play. There's no reason to play Davante Adams this week, but I believe for the postseason, they're going to get Higbee back. They're going to get Havenstein back. They're going to get Quentin Lake back, and they're going to get Davante Adams back as well. Probably get Blake Corum back, who got injured against the Falcons. You're going to get a lot of guys back for that first-round playoff game. My problem with the Rams is, and I think they're going to beat the Cardinals. I'm not going to spend most of this time talking about Cardinals-Rams because I'll break this game down in 30 seconds. Rams are going to score every single time they touch the ball. Everyone's playing, so Stafford's going to force-feed Puka. Puka's probably going to finish with the most yards in the NFL. He has 1,600 right now, probably going to end up with about 1,750. Stafford's going to make this one last push for the MVP, but it's too late. It's going to Drake May. We'll talk about that in a second. Cardinals are going to be down by 14 points immediately. Jacoby Brissett's going to be firing the football for the rest of the game because they can't run the ball. He's going to put up big numbers to Michael Wilson. Trey McBride's going to continue to have big numbers because this is one of the best years a tight end has ever had in the NFL and the NFL's history. And the Rams will win by probably 21-ish points. Okay, got that out of the way. I don't think this Rams team's winning a playoff game. I know you're getting all those guys back. The problem is you're going to Philly in the first round. And while no one's impressed with Philly, myself included, that defense is shutting this Rams team down. And we saw this last year. And yeah, the Rams put up the best fight last season in the postseason to the Eagles than anybody did. I will completely tell you that, 100%. You got to go to Philly, though, in the snow or in the cold. We saw that went. Again, they had a shot. Trailing the entire game. Kyron's fumbling. Stafford's throwing crappy balls. Stafford misses Puka in the end zone at the end of the game to potentially win the game. I don't like the Rams in that spot in the playoffs. I don't. And that's your first-round matchup in Philly? Bijan just beat you down on the ground. Saquon and Hurts. Don't get me wrong. Is Philly a Super Bowl contender? I don't think so. I think Philly's pretty clearly a second-round exit. The way I see it, I think Philly's going to go to the second round and lose to the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. But in terms of their first-round matchup against the Rams, absolutely, I'd be all over Philly. I think it would be an incredible feat if we get Philly anywhere near even money at that game. Right now, let me see the odds currently for that game. Is there anything for that one? The Eagles are underdogs at home against the Rams? That is one of the easiest bets I've ever seen. Are you kidding me? Plus 100 for the... I might bet on that right now. Eagles are plus 100 against the Rams? Why? That's all I'm saying. That is absurd that line is where it's at. The Eagles will beat down the Rams in the postseason. Believe you me. Rams beat the Cardinals here. Get ready for the postseason next week. They got a game coming up. So Stafford fumbled the MVP, literally threw away the MVP last week by throwing those 3 picks. It's Drake May's award. Drake May's got it. Patriots are playing their guys. There's multiple reasons to play your guys here. 1, you don't want to slip. If they lose this game, they will end up in the 3 seed, and they will play Buffalo like we mentioned earlier, and Jacksonville will get the Chargers instead. Those games, entertainment-wise, are way better for the league, but it is what it is. It's probably what's going to happen. Patriots are going to win. Patriots are going to play their guys. They have reason to play. Also, again, Drake May. Drake May is playing for the MVP this week. As long as Drake May doesn't completely shit the bed, and they're playing the Dolphins, he won't, Drake May is going to win the Most Valuable Player award at 23. It's crazy. I mean, again, statistically, he's a great passer. He is at a 72% completion rate, 30 touchdowns, 8 picks, 4,200 yards. Best QBR in the league. He is having a phenomenal season. I cannot deny that. It is a little crazy, though, he's going to win the MVP because, I mean, you look at all these quarterbacks who've won the MVP in the last 10 years. They're all, historically great guys, and then it's going to be Drake May. But here's the thing. Drake May's on that level now. He's going to go down that path of being an all-time great quarterback. I'm not saying that because he's going to win the MVP. It's the type of start he's had. I mean, this is a remarkable season. The only asterisk around the Drake May MVP run this year, 100%, is the strength of schedule. One of the worst strength of schedules this season in the NFL. They've played a bunch of last-place teams. Legitimately, look at every team the Patriots have beaten this year. It's a bunch of bad squads, and that's why no one believes they're going to win in the playoffs, which I'm with you on that. I think they probably lose in the second round to Jacksonville at home, personally. But it is what it is. Drake May should win the MVP. Absolutely. I mean, that win in Baltimore kind of sealed it. Well, no. Matthew Stafford sealed it. But the win in Baltimore and the comeback win in Baltimore got Drake May back in the discussion. And here we are. Patriots at home against the Miami Dolphins. Got on Quinn Ewers, winning his first ever game as a starter last week. Zach Wilson will never, ever get an opportunity for the rest of his career, and it just absolutely pains me. It pains me all the time. When will Zach Wilson ever get a shot? Just anywhere in the league. It doesn't matter where. I want Zach Wilson to get one more opportunity, but it's not fine. But good on Quinn Ewers. Ewers beats the Bucs because the Bucs suck. Ewers didn't even play that well, but he made the right throws at the right time, and the Dolphins win the game. So good on the Dolphins for winning. Good on Quinn Ewers for getting that first victory. They're going to New England. They're going to get pummeled. This game's not going to be close. Again, the Patriots are playing for something. They're playing for the 2 seed. They're playing for a potential 1 seed if the Broncos slip up and lose to the Chargers. And they're playing to win Drake May the MVP. New England Patriots MVPs all time. Tom Brady, Drake May. That's remarkable. So good on Drake May and good on Mike Vrabel for the turnaround this season. The Patriots will likely be 14-3 going into the postseason, likely hosting the Los Angeles Chargers, a rematch of the 2018 divisional round where Phillip Rivers and the Chargers went into New England and took on, obviously, Tom Brady and the Patriots, so we'll see that. But anyways, I'm going to go Patriots to win and cover. I don't think Ewers, again, rookie quarterback, still going to Foxborough. Yeah, I don't think he's going to see much success in this one. This looks like another Patriots beatdown against a bad team, and Drake May probably has 4 or 5 touchdowns, clinching that Most Valuable Player award. On now to our next game, we go to Philadelphia. Eagles Commanders. Honestly, not much to note in this game. Eagles are kind of stuck at 3. They could get to 2 if the Bears lose to the Lions, which actually could happen, and that would change your matchup for the Eagles, obviously, being, you get Green Bay just like you did last year in the first round, the 2-7, same exact spot, instead of getting the Rams. Sure, you'd much rather have that, but I don't think the Bears losing to the Lions. But anyways, Philly, for now, are going to play their guys. Everything I've seen. It doesn't really matter. I don't think they're going to lose the Commanders regardless. Regardless of what happens, I don't think they're losing to this Washington squad who are injured going into this game. I believe starting Josh Johnson. Yes, starting Josh Johnson. Everything looks like Josh Johnson will be getting the start. Obviously, Johnson starts on Christmas against the Dallas Cowboys. Marcus Mariota still injured. Marcus Mariota questionable this week, but Dan Quinn has said it's looking kind of unlikely. It's looking like it's a stretch that Marcus Mariota is going to be available. Commanders out multiple starting offensive linemen, multiple guys in their defense, starting defense. It looks like it's going to be a Josh Johnson start. They do have Jeff Driscoll and Sam Hartman still on the team as well on roster. I thought Hartman was their practice squad guy the entire year. I don't know where Driscoll came from. Maybe Driscoll was on the roster too, but I wouldn't be against them playing Sam Hartman, honestly, and giving Hartman, the former Wake Forest quarterback and Notre Dame quarterback, a shot. But it's going to be Josh Johnson, the 39-year-old, as Johnson continues just to find ways to start every single year in the NFL, so good on him. The Eagles will win this game, though. Game's in Philly. We just saw this game a couple weeks ago in D.C., a 29-18 victory for Jalen Hurts and Philadelphia, and don't look now, but the Eagles have won 3 games in a row. Beating the Raiders, beating Washington, and then going to Buffalo and beating the Bills. Was it a great game for Philadelphia? Oh, hell no, it wasn't. I mean, it's very similar to that game that they beat Tampa in. They beat the Buccaneers 31-25. I don't know if Hurts completed 0 or 1 passes in the second half, and Tampa was just this close. They were a Mecca Ibuka drop away from winning that football game. That was week 4 in Tampa. And it was very reminiscent of that Cowboys game we saw just a couple weeks, I guess a month ago now at this point, around before Thanksgiving. Yes, right before Thanksgiving, where the Cowboys completely came back in the second half, win it 24-21, and the Eagles, again, just don't move the ball in the second half. Those are problems that are going to stick with Philadelphia. But here's my thing with this. All these problems with closing games haven't really seen it at home this year, with the exception of, I guess, the Broncos game. But the Broncos, we know how good that team can be and how good that defense can be. As long as, again, they're at home next week against the Rams, which they have to be, obviously, winning their division, they're not going to have that problem, I think, of closing. And if they could get the 2, then you're probably going to get the Bears going to them in the second round. Okay, again, Philly's a dark horse to win the entire thing. Will they do it? Probably not, just because I don't think the offense is good enough. But defensively, yes, this is by far one of the best defenses in football, and I do just think Josh Johnson and the Washington Commanders are going to struggle mightily to score against this defense this week, and all things are pointing to Philly playing their starters this week and giving it a full go because the game somewhat matters. We could see a situation, though, where they're up at halftime and they just pull their guys. They probably look at the scores at halftime and say, okay, looking like the Bears are winning, but that game might be that game might be close. I don't know. Regardless of if the Eagles start their starters or not, they're essentially playing a backup Commanders team this week anyways, on a third-string quarterback in Josh Johnson and multiple backup offensive linemen and a lot of backup defensive players too. Give me Philly at home to win and cover the 7 points as well. On to our final game of the year, in which potentially could be the final game of the career, the Hall of Fame career for Aaron Rodgers, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. The NFL got exactly what they wanted on prime time in Pittsburgh. Win or go home. I'm taking Baltimore. Guys, the Ravens are finally looking solid again. And yeah, they lost to the Patriots, but still, it wasn't a bad loss. The Patriots are the second best team in the AFC. That Green Bay victory has given me so much confidence with Baltimore to the point where I can kind of confidently tell you, not confidently, but I can kind of tell you, I think the Ravens are going to the AFC Championship game. On paper, that sounds crazy. I think they're winning this week. I think they're beating the Texans. They're going to go to Denver and win, similar to what Joe Flacco did back in the day in 2012. And I think they're going to go to the AFC Championship game and lose in Duval County to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, who's playing at quarterback this week? Will it be Tyler Huntley? Will it be Lamar Jackson? Obviously, if Lamar is healthy, he will play. There's a lot of talk about this could be potentially Lamar's last year as a Raven. The current status of Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh said they'll know more at the end of the week. It's still TBD. They'll know more, I guess, later today on Wednesday if Lamar Jackson's playing or not. With or without Lamar Jackson, I'm taking the Ravens. If Derrick Henry continues to run the ball like that, and they continue to just feed Derrick Henry all game long, yeah, teams are going to have trouble stopping that, especially Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, whose defense is not what it used to be. I'll just say that. They've been playing slightly better as of late, but when you have Derrick Henry running full speed at you all game long, who, by the way, Derrick Henry is going to run for over 1,500 yards this season. He continues to do it every single year. It's just crazy. He's 31. He's still at the same production. Not obviously the 2,000-yard years he used to have in Tennessee, but Henry's he's still elite. The fumbles are a problem sometimes, but Henry is still running the ball like crazy this season. And if he continues to run like he did at Lambeau Field last week, where Baltimore needed to win, and they needed the Steelers L, and they got both of them. And now here they are. In a win-or-go-home game, and I think they get it done. Again, defensively, they're looking a little bit better. I know they got burnt by Malik Willis all game long, but Guys, again, like I've been saying, Malik Willis is a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and he should continue to get starting opportunities starting next season. I look at that offense right now to Baltimore. I think Taylor Huntley's playing well enough. He made some big he had some big conversions in that game. Again, the offense as a whole scores 41 points. And yeah, they turned over Malik Willis in a big spot as well. They had some great defensive moments, but the offense comes through in that game. And look at Pittsburgh. That loss to Cleveland. They were so focused on not allowing Myles Garrett to get that record. I'm not saying it's the only reason they lost the game, but it was a one reason. But you can't tell me, okay, you lose to Cleveland on the road, and now you're going to go beat Baltimore? I know you're at home now, but zero confidence. They had 3 straight wins: Baltimore, Miami, Detroit. Last couple of years, the road team wins Steelers, Ravens. Happened earlier this year. Pittsburgh went to Baltimore and won. I'm taking Baltimore to go to Pittsburgh and win. In what could be the final game of Aaron Rodgers' career, I know the Steelers are going to want him back. I don't know if Rodgers wants to do one more. I think the Ravens get him. I think they pressure Aaron Rodgers. And again, too, that DK Metcalf suspension, oh boy, is that big now. At the time, we're like, it sucks, but it'll be back for the playoffs. Baltimore's not going to win 2 in a row. Pittsburgh's not going to drop 2 in a row. Well, here we are. Win or go home. This is the game they wanted. And I think Baltimore gets it. They might get TJ Watt back this week due to the Steelers from that punctured lung. I think it's going to be Baltimore, guys. I think it's going to. With or without Lamar, I'm kind of hoping it's without Lamar so we get better odds than the Ravens. But if Jackson's back, yeah, you can kind of call it. You can call it this week, I think, for Baltimore. They easily win, in my opinion, with Lamar Jackson back in the game. I'm going Ravens to win on the road and covering on the road, advancing to the postseason and winning the AFC North. Ravens somehow get it done after starting the season 1-5 and at one point being at 6-7. Baltimore wins the AFC North. They host the Texans next week. Ravens on Sunday Night Football clinch -3.5. They get it done on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Folks, thank y'all for watching our Week 18 predictions for the NFL season. I want to thank you guys for the support every single week with these NFL predictions. We're not done, obviously. We've still got a lot more football to be played. The best part of the year is just coming up with the postseason. So make sure to join us later in the week for our best bets and best player props for Week 18, and as well for next week. Same sort of deal. Best bets, best player props, predictions. We'll be back next week for the wild card round. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba, forever.